So I just went back on the Alex Jones show for an interview segment about vaccines and toxic food, the scientific reality that there are chemicals in the food that are gender bender chemicals and so on. It was according to the feedback, it was a very popular segment. And I'll probably be invited back on, I suppose. And I appreciate Alex inviting me on to talk about these things. I just wanted to let my audience know why I decided to accept that invitation and go on Infowars and talk about these things. And the answer is, for the last few years, I've been really steeped in science and the scientific laboratory analysis of foods and supplements and environmental samples and so on. And this is crucial to liberty. Being able to think clearly requires you to have just a functioning neurology, to be in good health, of sound mind and sound body. And health is actually one of the most important gateways to awakening. And so if you think about it, Infowars' message is about political awakening and understanding what's going on in the world and the globalist agenda and so on. And my mission is about clean food. It's about understanding the real science about how you're being polluted or contaminated with toxic substances and issues like that. So there's actually a lot of overlap between these two. As you know, I'm pro-Trump, I'm pro-liberty, I'm pro-Second Amendment, and those are things that, of course, Infowars also advocates. But Infowars has never, they don't have a science lab, they don't have a scientist that is on staff or anything. And so what I'm able to bring to Infowars analysis, as a guest from time to time, is just sort of a scientific perspective, which I didn't have 5 years ago. At least not in the sense that I do now after running the lab and being awarded 2 patents for scientific, inventions by the U.S. Patent Office and co-authoring a very popular science article. It's been published in a peer-reviewed science journal, and writing my book, Food Forensics, a science-based book that hit #1, a science book on Amazon.com and so on. Having an ISO-accredited laboratory, doing mass spec analysis, all these things have given me a whole new perspective about the relationships between clean food, nutrition, and just being able to think clearly, which has everything to do with liberty, everything to do with human freedom, frankly. So these things have a lot more in common than you might first think they do. Now, one of the areas that you may find interesting is that Infowars products have been under attack by the left. It's a political attack trying to go after Alex Jones' revenue stream, which has a lot to do with product sales. And these are nutritional products or superfood products. And there was an attack on one of his products recently where some lab in California, I believe, claimed that he had very high levels of toxic lead in his product. Well, we found that to be false. And we discovered that using rigorous science. We're talking ICP-MS, which is a mass spec analysis of the atomic elements that are in any substance. And we were able to show that the accusations against Alex's product were false. And I did all this, by the way, long before I ever talked to Alex about it or was invited on the Infowars show. This was just something that I was doing. Well, number one, I suspected that it was false. I suspected that the numbers were not legit. And so I was curious myself. I decided, I want to find out if there's really this much lead in this product, which again turned out to be totally false, just as I suspected. And I wanted to find out how clean the product really was, because over the years, I've heard about some of the sources that supply Infowars and so on. And as far as I have ever heard, they've been reputable sources that have provided good quality product. And so I was surprised to hear anything other than that in the lab testing. So these lab tests that are being used to accuse Infowars of having, high lead products, as far as I can tell, they're bogus, completely bogus. In fact, we tested his caveman product 5 different times and came up with only, I think, 47 or 47.5 parts per billion lead, which is an A++ rating on low heavy metals verified. So A++. I mean, it's hard to get any better than that. And yet he was being accused of selling a contaminated product, which is total BS, just complete nonsense, an absolute lie. And by the way, I've tested lots of foods and supplements for lead, and you'll find more lead in a chocolate bar, like an organic, real chocolate bar, not a Hershey's processed sugar bar, but an actual chocolate bar. You'll find more lead than 47 parts per billion, typically. You'll find more lead in like tea, like loose tea that you use to make tea. It has way higher lead. You'll find more lead in ginger root, or typically turmeric root. Sometimes you'll find like 600% more lead in turmeric root than what we found in the caveman product. And this is irrefutable science, by the way. This is not just an opinion. This is not somebody just saying, oh, it's clean. No, this is ICP-MS testing. We are accredited. We are audited annually. We are certified. We are an accredited laboratory. It takes 2 years to achieve this accreditation. It's a big deal. It's the gold standard of analytical laboratory science. And I kind of doubt that the labs accusing Infowars are accredited at all. I haven't checked. Maybe some of them are, but most labs that I've seen in the industry are not accredited. It's just not that common because it takes a lot of money and effort and time to get accreditation. So our accreditation means that our results actually matter more than their results because they're not accredited. So in the priority of results, our lab has more authority. And we say that product only has 47, maybe 48 parts per billion, roughly in that range, which is, again, A++ rating. So I shared a little bit of that, on the show. And frankly, some people might say, well, why are you helping Infowars? They're your competitor, aren't they? Well, not really. I mean, we all have kind of the same goal. We're just, we're trying to help people get healthy. We're trying to help wake people up. We're trying to save this republic. And when I see somebody being falsely accused about something that we have the ability to really determine the truth about, because we are a credible science lab, we have the results, then of course I'm going to go ahead and tell the truth about that. I'm going to speak out and tell the truth and defend, that company against false accusation. And that's all this is about. It's very simple. This is not some grand agenda. It's not some other motive or anything. It's just, hey, tell the truth. Something I've been doing for decades, telling the truth. And in this case, it just happens to be that the Infowars Caveman product is very clean in terms of any kind of heavy metals. So there you go. That's the simple truth. And no, I'm not paid to say it. I don't get a cut of any sales. I don't get paid to show up on the show or anything. No one pays me anything. I have my own operation. I've got the Heath Ranger store. You want to support me? Yeah, purchase stuff from Heath Ranger store. It's a free market. It's your choice. You can support me if you want, or you can support somebody else if you want. I'm just giving you the straight up truth about what is in that product. And, we also test our products too, by the way. We test everything we sell, which I think makes us stand out against, everybody, frankly. I mean, I don't know that anybody does the comprehensive testing that we do. But the good news is that I think more and more companies are doing more testing, generally speaking, anyway. So that's a good influence on the entire industry. Because it really is about health and nutrition, and it's about healing your body and your mind and being able to function well, being able to learn and assimilate information, understand what you're hearing or reading, being able to think critically, think for yourself, be an independent-minded person. You got to have good nutrition to do that. You have to have the right minerals. You have to have the right molecules that come from superfoods, for example, or just regular foods. There's a lot of good healing nutrition in regular foods. Like fresh produce, fruits and vegetables and so on, organics, things like that. So the more you take care of your health, the better you're going to be able to navigate the world around you, which is really what the independent media is all about, is helping you navigate information. And that's what Infowars does. They've got their own, take on things. They've got their own style. It's a very masculine style. Nothing wrong with that. That's their audience. That's their angle on things. It's great. They're pro-liberty. You know, my audience maybe is a little bit different, which is also great. You know, other people out there, they have their own audiences. It's all good. So, you know, don't sweat it. It's everybody's just got a different take on things, but we all have a common goal, which is to awaken and uplift people, and help create a more free society, and help create awareness about clean foods and nutrition and self-healing and all these things that really matter. So that's what it's all about. It's very, very simple, you know. And this is just a off-the-cuff podcast. This is not scripted. This is not planned out. There's no notes or anything. I don't even have bullet point notes. It's just, hey, me telling you why I said yes and went on Infowars and decided to go in and give a scientific view of some of the Infowars products, because that's what we're experts at now. So anyway, that's all there is to it. It's very simple. You can, of course, hear more of my podcast at healthrangerreport.com or read my website, naturalnews.com. We do a lot of coverage of science and medicine every single day. We've got a whole big science team that's fairly new now that analyzes science news every day and puts it all on there. And it's, you know, you're going to learn a tremendous amount just by reading naturalnews.com every day. And we also now publish science.news. So you can check that out daily. It's got, you know, just scientific articles that talk about nutrition and disease prevention and healing remedies and things like that. But it's all rooted in good science. Every story on there has a scientific citation, every single story. Well, there might be an occasional interpretation piece that cites another story with a scientific citation. So there may be a few of those, but by and large, they all have scientific citations. So thank you for listening. This is Mike Adams, Health Ranger. Be safe and stay informed.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.